Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring DoW2 Retribution. We're on the Elite mod here tonight. We're on Calderis Refinery, and I have a very special guest with us tonight. Going to do a little co-cast action with one of our favorite players, been featured prominently on my channel many times. Y'all know him and love him. Best known for his Lord General play. Welcome to the program, Toilailee. Say hello to the folks.
Hello. That's like the best intro I've ever gotten.
Now, before we go too far at all, actually, and I've already said it once, I don't want to do it anymore. How the heck am I supposed to say your name? Because everyone makes fun of me every time I cast one of your games.
Oh God, just deal with it. If I had known this would happen, I would have picked a better name. And I've heard them all, like Toilailee, Toilailee, Willy Lily, even Toilet. Just deal with it.
How do you intend it to be pronounced yourself?
Toilailee.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, I'll try to nail that from here on.
Sounds so horrible. I really should have picked a better name, but it's too late now.
It's too late. It's what you're known for, and everybody knows who you are.
Exactly.
And you were one of the first games I casted, and I remember that in my very first episode. If you go way back, you'll find him there, and I probably stumbled over it half a dozen times. I regretted it instantly. I was like, why did I choose this name to do my first cast? All right, so this match is probably going up a few days after the tournament that we're about to play this weekend. So I'm going to ask you a fourth dimensional question here. How did you think you did in the tournament?
I won it.
You won it? So should I just go ahead and give you the Company of Heroes 2 right now?
Yeah, I won it.
All right.
I don't want to talk it.
All right. Well, I'm afraid you'll have to at least earn it, and we'll have to take a look at that later on. For those of you watching, I'm sure the games are up on my Twitch stream over there, twitch.tv/Red-Rupee. And with all of that nonsense out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. We've got Toilailee here, and facing off against Texcalibur. So this is kind of like the famed mashup here these days. And you guys are actually playing your primary races that you became known for. I mean, obviously both of you can play just about anything these days pretty well, but Tex is known for Orks, and you are, of course, known for Imperial Guard, specifically the Lord General. Did you play much before Retribution? I feel like I didn't really know your name until Retribution.
No, I had the Chaos Rising and I played some of it, but I really didn't get into it really before Retribution. So
what made you go for Imperial Guard?
Well, I liked them in the tabletop, so I just decided to go with it and started with them. And after a while, I really started to like the Lord General and then just stuck with him for a long time.
Now, what do you feel like the Lord General brings to the table that maybe most other commanders don't? I mean, obviously his most unique trait is his whole retinue setup, but what are like the aspects of the Lord General that really you really dig?
Well, for tier 1, he's really tankiness with his reinforcing the field and the range DPS of his default bolter is really good for tier 1. Like without any power investment, he can do some real work in tier 1. And after that, he's the usual buffs with Sniper and Commissar and whatever he gets. And his globals, actually, the Creeping Basilisk Barrage used to be really, really good, but now it's nerfed in the Elite because I asked Keltos to nerf it.
So yeah. You actually asked for that to get nerfed?
Yeah, it was just, I really got the timing down and you can basically wipe anything in retreat pad, except Tyranids. Yeah.
There's that infamous clip I remember from one of the tournaments sometimes back where you wiped out 2 retreating squads of shooter boys, I believe.
Yeah, it was against Edja in the Cup of Coffee, the French tournament.
Yeah, yes, I remember that. That's right. That's correct. That was I've seen that many times, and it always makes me cringe every time. So how do you feel like he is an Elite mod with the modifications that have been made, I guess, to Imperial Guard and the Lord General in general? Do you think he's any stronger or about where he should be, or maybe a little underpowered? Where do you think he stands these days?
Well, he's kind of okay, but the IG have really got the nerf back in Elite in general, since the Sentinels were nerfed pretty roughly and the IG repair rate were generally dropped. And the Lord General's biggest nerf to him was his Commissar Retinue member. His Refractor field used to get like 85% reduction from damage, and now it's only like 50%. So that was the major nerf he got.
Gotcha. That still seems like a reasonable boost in defense, though.
Yeah, it's reasonable, but it used to be almost like an invulnerability bubble, so I feel it's a major nerf. Because
Gotcha.
I really use that like in every game.
Is there any like particular war gear combination that like is your favorite, or any kind of trick specifically that you like best with the Lord General?
Well, in like early tier 2, I always buy the Commissar almost because he's so cheap to buy and it really adds up to his DPS. So when early tier 2, before squads get their tier 2 upgrades, he can really put out the hurt to the infantry squads with his regular DPS. That's really the only one I pretty much always get. Other than that, I just get what I need.
Yeah, he seems like overall he's fairly versatile in bringing the various buffs to his troops.
Yeah, but he always needs his troops to blob up and like be together so he can buff them, and he's not really good with vehicles, so basically he does have nothing to them, so that's why his tier 3 is not that great, since all he gets is those 2 tanks and the nuke, and because he really uses his red a lot in the Basilisk Creeping Barrage, so he often doesn't even have the red to nuke, and those tanks really he can't buff them at all, since his entire existence is about buffing his infantry.
Alright, well sounds good. That sounds like enough chit-chat for the Lord General. Let's go ahead and see some play in action here. We're going to go ahead and get this game started. I'm at 5 seconds, so if you're ready to go, I'll count it down. We're going in 3, 2, 1, go! And we're at 6, 7, 8. Yeah,
9.
looks perfect. Alright, always nice to get that on the first try. And so what's the plan? Do you generally have a game plan going into the game here, or you just kind of winging it?
Well, I kind of have my capping orders ready for every single map because I've played them so much, but I used to go in retail, I used to go Sentinel first a lot of times, but now since you have to buy the Stomp, I always go the Guardsman first in my build order.
Alright, and is that because you can't just get that initial harass in nearly as easily?
Exactly that. There's really not much point in sending the Sentinel out without the Stomp on its own.
Alright, so did you know Tex was going Orks, or did he play random this match?
Actually, I'm not sure because we play so much together, I can't remember which map, which game he was random.
Is there a particular build order you feel is more effective against Ork armies, or...?
Well, Double Sentinel isn't that great against Orks, since the big shooters, even blocked up, can really rip them apart, and I also feel the Catechans lose pretty bad to big shooters since they can't touch them. So I go usually with heavy weapons teams or triple guardsmen.
Gotcha, now here goes the initial harass with the Sentinel on the far side.
Yeah, and I see he has all his forces at the left side, so I bring my right side guardsmen all the way here as fast as I can. But it turns out like he's already running away and I don't really need that guardsman. It should have just stayed the right side and get the power in hindsight. Because he doesn't have any of his upgrades yet, so these shooters really aren't doing so much. And there's you see that Lord General early DPS really putting the hurt on them.
Yeah, it seems between, I mean, the Lord General, and of course I know this playing the Tech Marine, is that having that kind of heavier DPS range coming from a ranged hero really makes a huge difference in those early engagements. So I feel like right there we really saw a good example of that. Those shooters and sluggers weren't even really able to get near you, and now his War Boss, which is normally a very tanky hero, can't really stand against all this combined arms on his own.
Yeah, and I'm kiting him and actually not losing much capping time since Sentinel was decapping during the fight, so he wasn't delaying me as much as he wanted to. Really.
Yeah, I'll often see the Sentinel trying to get some decaps in during combat, and I feel like if you have the opportunity, you should go ahead and be doing that. That seems like, you know, one of the Sentinel's key facts is that it's so quick and it can decap.
Yeah, tanking damage while being repaired. And Tex is actually going for Storm Boys, which is pretty weird for this matchup, but I have seen him doing it before, so it wasn't so unexpected. So. Since I got nothing else to do, I'm just pushing his power here. And really I see that neither of the shooters still has any big shooters, so I'm expecting really a Luda here, but now I see the Storm Boys, so...
Now, do you think a Luda would have been more troublesome for you to deal with, or do you think the Storm Boys are going to be a larger threat?
In tier 1 the Luda is worse, but in the long run Storm Boys, when they level up and get their knob, they can be a real threat. And I was actually going to drop a turret at his gen farm there, but when I saw the Storm Boys, I decided not to. Because those will have just ripped through it.
Yeah, it looks like those Storm Boys found themselves a bit overextended, but here come the big shooters. They're pretty injured, though. And
yeah.
I do think, yes, you have your stomp. Drop it down right there. Beat up those big shooters. Your Lord General had to retreat earlier. I guess he got a little overextended out there without any retinue members coming in.
Yeah, he got all the shooter for him, and tier 3 Warboss is just delaying me as much as he can, trying to... And actually the sync kills this time are working in his favor, because he takes reduced range damage while sync killing, and all he's really trying to do here is just buy time while he reinforces and comes out of base.
So the generator is online.
So you've got a heavy weapons team coming out here shortly. Still don't have your power farm fully invested here, so
you
went
into
for...
a real big tier 1 engagement game.
Do you feel like Imperial Guard has generally the advantage in tier 1?
Well, due to Sentinels, yes, but Orks is one of the races that can actually counter Sentinels by spamming big shooters, so... And actually I was planning to use the bunker in this game in the middle when I saw his Storm Boys, and use the bunker to beat heavy weapons team to counter them in tier 1. I had that plan going on when I got the heavy weapon team out.
I rarely see bunkers used in the early game. I normally don't see them come out until about mid to late game, when you'll see the repair bunkers or the medic bunkers.
And I actually thought the bunker is 100 red at that point, and it's actually 75, so that just proves how rarely they are used.
So it looks like everything's going to get locked down by your push on this side of the map.
There he wasn't expecting the heavy weapons team, so that caught him off guard, and both the shooters had to get out.
Now, are you happy with the position that the heavy weapons squad was in? I know in retail they've pretty much been claimed unusable, since all they did was try to run around and melee everything.
Yeah, since they didn't have their guns. But actually, if you don't order them to attack, just like leave them be and let them shoot what they want, then they don't like run to melee distance.
Shooters finding themselves a bit outgunned right there. Oh, waste of a stomp, but no big deal. Tex recognizes the big tier 1, and he's responding, it looks like, with a large tier 1 of his own. That seems to be kind of the option I've heard thrown in around, is like, in response to the larger tier 1s I feel like we've been seeing in more recent games, you can either go a heavy tier 1 yourself, or just make sure that you can hold that power farm and bring out some tier 2 tech. But looks like Tex is going for the first of those two options, and has double shoes, double sluggers, and a Storm Boy squad.
Yeah, Tex really knows how much I like to drop those multi-laser turrets as his power, so he doesn't like the second option.
So do you always go for the turret? Do you pretty much never get the flamer on the guardsman?
No, I really don't like the flamer on the guardsman, because it's, on the long run it's just a upgrade actually to the blast cannons. And
right.
And I really want those plasma guns in the long run. I want to have the option at least. And the multi-laser is just, if you salvage it, it even costs less power than and same amount of reg. And if there's something trying to stop you from bashing the turret, it's actually going to help with that, while the flamers are not. And again, the Warboss is just trying to stall time. And now he realizes everything I have is here, so...
Yeah, it's working rather effectively, despite having, I feel like, the majority of his forces pushed around.
Yeah,
he stalls you with the Warboss.
Shooters, showing his massive skills here.
But yeah, Storm Boy's out here, Shooters out here. Now it looks like you're moving out for a push in the direction of his gen farm, and meanwhile capping on the far side of the map.
Yeah, I have my single guardsman out there. I often get out-capped in this map if I only have like 2 guardsmen and 1 heavy weapon team or Catachans. So now I have that extra guardsman squad that, like, I can always detach one of my guardsmen to cap, and it doesn't have to be the specific squad or anything. There's always a free unit to cap.
Push you back with those 3 sluggers over there, and it looks like he's coming in for a big flank behind your heavy weapons team.
Yeah.
I guess you spot that right now. Looks like you're trying to reposition here.
Yeah, actually this is the part where I decided now is the good time to use that bunker. Since with that I can take everything he has at the moment. But Tex actually makes the smart play here when he sees that, and he decides not even to engage and just goes for the counter bash.
Yeah, that's sometimes a difficult choice to make, and I'll always see people kind of make the wrong decisions sometimes as to whether they think they can actually defend or whether they should try to just ignore their own Gen Bash, push up the enemy's map, and take out the Gen Far for themselves.
Yeah, and he actually gets the triple cap here too, since he like ignores that my really off map bunker.
Which is perfect because you're not really going to be able to sit there and babysit that bunker. You're going to be able to take out this power farm, and then you're pretty much going to have to abandon that side of the map to go start taking the map back.
Exactly, that bunker should have been in the middle or something that I was planning initially, but...
So it looks like we're going to have both gen farms going down. Both of you are in tier 2, bringing out your first tier 2 units. You got the Weird Boy coming onto the field and a Chimera as well. And I feel like the Weird Boy is really just an excellent weapon against the Imperial Guard army. Do those tend to give you issue?
Yeah, when you're micro-belt, the Weird Boy is really annoying to deal with as IG. He's really good against every single IG unit. Yeah. And there I got my Commissar and the Lord General as soon as it hit tier 2.
And immediately pop that refractor field. Now, do you try to be a little more reserved with your Lord General once you start getting his more expensive retinue members?
Usually yes, but actually in the last engagement I used my hero in green cover against the shooters alone, and I lost my sergeant retinue member, and that was a bad play.
Warboss is knocking you all over the place. VP's starting to head into Texas' favor with his triple cap sitting there.
Warboss was actually in cover there, and while he's in melee and cover, he's really taking no damage from the range fire at all. There's 3 squads firing at him, and he's just tanking it.
Yeah, you can see the green indicators around the Warboss.
Yeah,
but it looks like he's not going to get out of there.
Oh yeah, he lost his Warboss and his Lagas on top at my power.
We're standing by here.
And the Sentinel is getting really low here.
Yeah, it looks like you're trying to out-repair it.
Yeah, I dropped the puzzle creeping there. I was expecting them to blow up.
And it looks like his shooters just narrowly escape.
Yes, sir.
But that Zap's still jumping around, still doing big damage. Even goes back to the Lord General.
Yeah, and actually I think here it jumps back to the Guardsman, yeah. In retail
oh man!
Yeah, in retail it doesn't jump back to the unit, it's already like jump to. And I lost both my commissars there, that's 40 power down the drain. And I don't have
see, all you've got is 2 Sarges hanging out.
Yeah, and I don't have my Gen farm, so that's really bad for my economy.
Wow, that was probably one of the most effective Zaps I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So looks like right now I'd say you're in kind of a tricky spot. Most of the map is either red or decapped. The only point you have is Texas natural VP, which he's about to take back, and your natural power farm. So what are you thinking at this stage in the game? Like what's your game plan to get back into this?
Well, I got this arsenal on my heavy weapon team, so it won't get knocked back by the Weird Boy, and I can sit behind it, have the Sentinel next to it in case the Storm was jumping, so I won't lose it. And basically I'm like trying to set up shop in the middle here and try to cap with my 1 Guardsman squad. Stomping the Weird Boy. And now going to melee it, because it's really the only threatening thing here.
Those ranged attacks seem like they've really been just tearing apart your Guardsman forces. Now, are you planning to get the missile launcher on that Sentinel? Do you often go for that upgrade? I always feel that it's effective, but it seems like it's pretty expensive for what it is.
Yeah, price was lowered in the Elite mode by the amount the stomp costs, so it's 15 power less, so now it's much more affordable actually.
Oh, I did forget that it has a slightly reduced cost, yeah.
If he had 3 shooters, I might go it for just for the frags, but I'm really low on power now, so I just can't get it for the hell of it.
Now, what do you think you're going to use your power on? I often see, I feel like I often see Imperial Guard players not really quite know what they want to spend their power on in Tier 2. You've obviously got the Chimera, you've got your Guardsman that you can upgrade with either Commissar or Plasma, you've got the Sentinel, you've obviously got War Gear for your hero. Like, what do you prioritize generally? Do you generally go for the Commissars or try to get the quick vehicle out?
Well, a bit builder like this, when I rely on the Chimera Guardsman play, I got the Commissars on my 2 Guardsman squad because I'm gonna keep bleeding a lot of Guardsmen to his shooters and Weird Boy, so I need to minimize those costs. So that's why I got both leaders on them, so they won't bleed so much.
Tank Buster Barrage going down. I'm always surprised at how much damage that can do to Guardsmen.
Yeah, but now that his tank busters are retreating, I can just ram him with my Chimera and it won't be that threatened since the Weird Boy won't be able to take it out if I'm not droid right. But actually he gets a really nice rear armor hit there. And another one. So now it's getting pretty scary there.
Here comes the Foot of Gork right on top of that Sentinel, but pretty easy to dodge. That was kind of an odd time to drop that.
Yeah, and I really wasn't expecting that Wargear anyway. It's 35 power and he doesn't have his gen farm up.
Yeah, I mean, both of you are sitting on next to no power. Both just now picking up your power nodes. But at the same time, no one's still lost a squad here, so I mean, both the armies are still pretty huge.
No, Tex lost his Slugabot squad at 1 power. But he has another one, so...
And I'm always surprised that Tex always has just really excellent map control. Even when he's on the back foot. I feel like in Tier 1 he was in a bad spot, but he managed to hold a lot of the map there.
Yeah, he has so many squads now. That Slugabot squad that's retreating right now was just capping everything, while everything I had was in the middle of engagement.
It looks like it's going to be able to get out of there too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sneaking away with just a lone model and 22 HP. Meanwhile, Weird Boy and Shoota's still just blasting away mercilessly here.
Yeah, and my Sentinel is
all over the place.
Sentinel is getting really low here, and I know I really need it now that he has those Storm Boys. I can't afford to lose it.
Yeah, I feel like the stomp, the defensive stomp there when those Shooter Boys, or sorry, the Storm Boys come in is probably going to be crucial to keeping your folks alive.
Yeah, and here I'm getting kind of brave with my Chimera charging in there, but he still has his tank busters in, so it wasn't that great move. And he actually used a really nice barrage there, predicts how I'm gonna retreat with it and managed to hit it. So that was a big blow for me.
Really a perfect place to drop that barrage.
He's that Chimera.
That's pretty much where you want to drop that. You want to drop it just far enough back that either makes them want to retreat through it or push forward back into your Storm Boys or your Tank Busters range.
Yeah, exactly. Don't use it directly on the vehicle.
Weird Boy gets one last parting shot in before retreating back to the relative safety of the Ork outpost there. And just as you move the Sentinel back, Tex recognizes that and charges ahead with the Storm Boys on your heavy weapons team.
But I have a Commissar on this Guardsman squad, so I can execute it and just start shooting.
Yeah, that's another often underused ability I feel like a lot of players forget about, is that summary execution, being able to stop your retreating Guardsman squad. That's the only thing in the game that can do that. And there goes the creeping barrage. Manages to take out at least a lone Storm Boy there.
If that was retail, it would have taken out all but the knob.
And if nothing else, it also deterred the incoming Shooters and Storm Boys there. They are starting to head over to the other side of the map along with that second Shooter Boy squad. And you're pulling out a second Chimera while Tex is pulling on the Death Dread. So do you feel like you're going to be well equipped to deal with that Death Dread? I guess, do you expect that to be coming right now, or do you think he's going for more of a Tier 3 push at this point?
No, I'm not expecting a Tier 3 release since he didn't have a power farm. Might have been that or stick bombers even. I really wasn't expecting much at this point. But really, the Death Dread, I still have my heavy weapon team, so I can get the last cannon to deal with it. But then again, I kinda want to have that heavy bolter, so I have to give it up to get the last cannon.
Yeah, I feel like having suppression against Orks is always paramount. I think that's something you always need to have.
Yeah, Ork Tier 3 is really vulnerable to setup teams. But then again, Ork Tier 2, if Ork players know what they're doing, they can get stick bombers or Weird Boy to deal with these suppression teams. But then again, if they only spam knobs or tanks, then they can be countered by spamming setup teams.
Alright, so here comes the Death Dread. Looks like it's catching you a bit off guard right here.
Yeah, I already got the last cannon, and I put my last cannon in the Chimera and just draw away. And now I'm leaving my Chimera there for him to bait him to stay there and start hitting on it and set up my last cannon.
Yeah, it looks like he just spotted the last cannon. He might be able to get in on that after trying to focus your Chimera a bit too long there. He should have recognized that that las cannon was heading out there, and it looks like you're just going to keep hopping in that Chimera and repositioning to try to put some more pressure on that walker.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be able to set up the last cannon again if he's paying attention.
Now, do you feel like at this point in the game you maybe could have gone for the Sentinel missile launcher to try to put some more pressure on the Death Dread?
Actually, I'm thinking here I have to get another AV source, and yeah, now I'm going for the missile launcher. Because I can't really afford anything else right now.
Right, you could have gotten, at that point, the second heavy weapons team, but really you need to make sure you can deal with this walker for the time being, because as it is right now, I mean, you're just kind of locked in your base. Calderas Refinery does have that super annoying little rock outcropping.
Yeah,
that if you only have...
on my last one there on Dex.
Yeah, that was a heck of a shot. I don't know if you guys saw where this was set up and where that shot went to, but it went down about parallel to the VP from as far back as in your base.
Yeah, but with the Death Dread's ability to rampage away, he can actually get away safely from there.
Sentinel in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and I know I need it, so I use the barrage there defensively just to keep them away from my Sentinel.
Weird Boy heading back after doing some reasonable damage. Still no major power farms up for either of you, however. Both of you reasonably Rexstar have been doing some good damage to both armies. And it just looks like it's going to be pretty much a tier 2 battle for the time being.
Yeah, we are both bleeding here like hell, and I know I need my general in the field really. So I get the stabilizers just to basically to heal himself, because he can't keep medpacks for himself, so he has to use the stabilizers to heal him. Because I know
I actually wasn't aware that the stabilizers did heal him. Does it heal him himself, or just his retinue members, or all four of them?
All of them. And there I lost both my commissar and the sergeant on the retinue. And I was pretty mad about that, because I can't afford to rebuy them at this point. And also the stabilizers in the elite, they heal during engagement, so you can use them to help us negate some bleed.
So it looks like you're finally able to start pushing back out on the map. You push back those two Shooter Boy squads. Tex does have his Storm Boys coming in from behind, but it looks like he just spotted those. Tex recognizes it, pulls back, and you're just working your way slowly into the center with that Chimera support. And this is the way I love to see the Chimera use, just keeping it back, just keeping it behind those guardsmen, constantly reinforcing. Oftentimes I'll see folks use the Chimera a bit more offensively, I guess more along the lines of like a Razorback or something, trying to get that extra damage in. But really, I think you just need to keep that thing safe, keep it on the field, and just constantly be reinforcing your guardsman troops.
Yeah, with guardsman heavy play, that's how it works, but if you only have like one guardsman squad and doing Ogre heavy build or something, then you can use like a Razorback.
Looks like your guardsman getting a little angry at that Weird Boy there.
Yeah, I was thinking of ninja capping the top EP, and since I have the commissar, I can just retreat out and execute in the middle. So even if I have to retreat, I can keep them in the field.
So do you find yourself at times going for more offensive plays with your guardsmen than you would with another squad, because you can pull them back and hit that retreat
Yeah,
cancel?
definitely. I do that all the time when I have the commissar. And I often get the commissar just for that. Go for those like aggressive caps and everything, or just scouting ahead. Yeah, I know I can retreat and execute. And the Death Dread is going for flank here, getting on my heavy turret.
Oh man, it looks like you just barely got that las cannon not set up to guard the heavy turret.
Yeah.
Some repair coming in.
He knows he can't leave the heavy turret mid-range or he's gonna get shot in the ass. So basically this works, but I did lose my heavy turret, so it was kind of a trade.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he managed to get that down. I didn't think that was going to quite work out for him, but he is going to lose the Death Dread in the process. It's definitely something I've heard Tex say before, is you got to know when it's worth it to trade. And I think considering he really didn't have any other answer to that heavy turret, getting that nice flank in and the timing of that Death Dread approach was really just what he needed.
Yeah, he used the tank buster barrage on the turret, since, you know, the turrets can't dodge the barrage. And that's one of the reasons why heavy turrets aren't so good against Orks.
Yeah, I was getting ready to question that before it did go down, but it actually ended up going down too quickly, as if you thought the turret was a reasonable idea against the tank busters. It does have that vehicle armor, so the tank busters...
Yeah, here I was thinking what I should get, like, should I get a Manticore and another heavy team, or the heavy turret, but I really wanted just something now, because I knew the engagement was coming up and I wanted to keep the BP, so I just dropped the turret.
Alright, so you finally got that second heavy weapons team that you were talking about, saying you did want to bring that out as soon as you got the las cannon, because you do want to have that suppression on the field.
Yeah, now I'm sending my last gun to try and ninja bash some power. Doesn't have any other use really now. Or maybe sit in the Chimera just to activate these guns.
Yeah, I mean, that's another kind of overlooked thing I see in a lot of games, is folks will get that heavy weapons team, las cannon, bright lance, whatever, and once it defeats a vehicle, it kind of just sits around waiting for another vehicle. When, I mean, it's not super effective at it, but you may as well have it capping, may as well have it out there trying to harass power, force your enemy to at least commit something to deal with it.
Yeah. And here the Sentinel got really lucky again, but Tex could have killed it there if he had focused it down. So I was lucky he didn't, since I really need that.
Yeah, that Sentinel's sitting at level 3, so it's doing some pretty significant damage at this point in the game. Both your heroes sitting at level 3 and level 5 respectively, and Tex is finally making that push into tier 3, but it looks like you're not going to be hitting tier 3 yourself anytime soon.
No, I've already decided I'm not going to tier 3 in this game, and it's not that uncommon when I play the Lord General.
So you do feel like you'll have all the tools at your disposal that you'll need to deal with this as a tier 2 Imperial Guard.
Yeah, well, that, and it's more of a that I really don't feel the tier 3 offers me enough to get it as Lord General.
Message received. Tear us apart in melee.
Alright, so we've got the War Boss stomping around in the center, knocking that heavy weapons team over. Actually prevents the War Boss from getting a swing right there. And the Zap's just constantly been pouring in. I'm curious how many kills that Weird Boy has gotten this game, because it has to be dozens of guardsmen at this point.
Yeah, I knew I was gonna be bleeding a lot of guardsmen, so that's why I got the both leaders. And
now, do you leave your guardsmen on Overwatch, or do you reinforce them manually?
I leave them on Overwatch. I'd have to be clicking on them like 24/7 otherwise. Sometimes when I see them reinforcing like one model only, I cancel it, but that's not that often.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, because oftentimes I'll see people just lose 1 or 2 guardsmen and reinforcing off the Chimera, when really you can, you know, save a little bit of requisition if you're reinforcing manually 3 for 1. Oh gosh, here comes the rocks! And you're just standing there under it. Are you just not concerned with that strike, or were you looking away there?
I'm definitely looking away. That rock's really gonna hurt. But luckily, my vehicle's out of there, and I was.
Yeah, it looks like all 3 squads survived. It's gonna cost you a good deal of wreck to reinforce, but all things considered, very fortunate. Guardsmen, I feel like, so long as they're not super blobbed up, tend to survive rocks just because they have so many models. Oftentimes, 1 or 2 will just get knocked clear of the blast. So long as your Sarge isn't stuck under there.
Yeah, this time, but I again lost my Commissar in the squad. It went to 1 out of 9. Only the Sarge survived, so I had to repurchase that. And it's gonna cost me more than the entire squad of guardsmen.
Now the looted tank's on the field. Do you feel like the looted tank was a good choice, or do you think he should have probably gone for some knobs instead?
I actually felt kind of relieved here when I saw the tank, because knobs would have been far worse here, but he told me that when he saw me get the plasma guns, he figured he didn't want to get them anymore. And thought the tank was the better option, but I did have the las cannon ready, so...
That's exactly what I was thinking. With the las cannon there and the Sentinel, if the Sentinel gets 1 more rocket in there, it looks like that thing's about to go down. But it looks like it's going to escape for the time being.
No, I still sent my Sentinel after it, and get the last shot in the...
There it goes, out of control, right into the rear armor. Gonna be able to get the stomp on the Weird Boy. War Boss taking tons of fire. Just from all sides, really. And it's 55 to 31. Stormboy's causing lots of hurt.
Yeah, and Lord General again meleeing the Weird Boy, because he really hurts me and he's free to shoot at me.
Yeah, it seems like it's really important for you to just constantly try to prevent that Weird Boy from causing any real damage from his basic ranged attacks. So keeping him in melee seems fairly important, especially against as Imperial Guard.
Yeah, but it's usually pretty hard to get to melee him since he has that vomit. And he's usually behind the Ork blob. And
Right.
exactly use your chopper here and shoot us.
It actually
And
looks
I know
like it's
if I
working
retreat
out.
now I'm dead, so I bring up the Chimera and try to get in before I die.
And it... Oh, do you get in there? He does escape. Nice save there from the Chimera.
Yeah, and quick escape when I say the tank busters.
And it looks like Tex is just coming out, not even able to reinforce all his squads completely at this point. Taking
Yeah,
lots of
that's-
losses. Losing the looted tank probably really sealed the deal for him, considering there are so few VPs left.
Yeah, but he still has all the records in the map. I don't have anything left. So I'm still really bleeding these guardsmen. And now use the barrage just to stop the gap when the VPs are so low.
And the VPs are ticking down. Yeah, if he doesn't get on there with those commandos, that's going to be just about it. Looks like he is going for the decap, though.
Yeah, they
8
use
points
my
left,
stomp,
and the stomp doesn't quite stop him. The VPs stop once again, and Tech's going for one last-ditch effort here to hold on to the game.
And the Sentinel finally goes
Oh,
down.
Sentinel finally goes down. Combined fire from Tank Busters, Weird Boy, Shooters, Warboss charging in all over the place.
Yeah,
It looks
I have
like
3 guardsmen squads bleeding like hell to all these Orks.
Yeah, it looks like both of you are just determined to stay on the field to the bitter end at this point. Tex finally has to fall back as the attrition is just catching up with him. Both
Yeah,
are
he
bleeding.
doesn't have on-field reinforce here unlike I do, so...
Had his Warboss already fall back, I feel like he could have used Call to Boys right there and maybe tried to pressure your Chimera, but I guess ultimately you would have still been able to just continue reinforcing.
Yeah, well, I was out of wreck here. I mean, I was bleeding at 0. I didn't have enough even to reinforce those guardsmen. I mean, more than my income allowed. So it was really close there. But he has these commandos ninja capping my VP, so...
Yeah, he's actually been using those commandos to great effect, been sneaking them around and getting the
yeah,
decaps
now
in.
my guardsmen are going for his VP, so...
16 to 7, 2-0 cap against you. Let's see if these guardsmen get the decap in, and it's just barely goes down. Still ticking against you, though. Gonna grab the center point. VP's going in either direction. Commandos finally look like they're gonna go down here.
Yeah. They stayed
Then-
at the bitter end just to delay me as long as they could.
7 to 7. Cap's going down on one side, up on the other. I don't even know what's going on here. It's a pretty brutal match. 6 finally going down, and it looks like if Tex can't get this, I think there goes the creeping Basilisk Barrage, and you just close out the game with that. How many of those did you drop this game? I feel like that has to be about the 5th one.
Yeah, about that much or even more. And
How
still
much
Storm was
red do those cost again?
200.
Gotcha.
And the last effort to try and decap.
And wow, just barely pulling that one out by the skin of your teeth. But yeah, I mean, saw some good maneuvers there. The sniper rifle range upgrade used in conjunction with that heavy weapons squad seems very effective.
Yeah, it's really good vehicle killer, and then especially if you have a Manticore with it, then you snare something from very far away and then Manticore it, and you can kill a vehicle from your base.
But yeah, wow. Do you think there was anything Tex could have done better there? I mean, obviously you said you were relieved when you saw the tank. Do you think Knobs probably would have been a much bigger threat?
Yeah, definitely. And if you use the throw the boys ability on the weird boy, you really could have thrown them away. So my heavy weapon team won't have done that much to them.
Yeah, he either could have gotten them in or out of a bad situation if he needed to. I mean, you had plenty of firepower as far as those plasma rifles, like he said. But I think I don't know. I guess we'll have to... I mean, the game speaks for it. He didn't win with the looted tank. Perhaps the Knobs would have been the right choice. Do you think anything different in your build could have maybe made this a little less of a nail-biter for you?
Well, a Manticore instead of that heavy turret might have helped very lot since he was blobbing in the end a lot. And in those denying those caps and forcing off retreats, that could have helped a lot.
And that was another thing. You just managed to stay on the field so often using those using the summary execution, keeping the commissars up. Obviously, when the rocks hit, it did break a couple of those commissars. Oh, that lone bunker's still hanging out up top. Didn't do anything for the rest of the match, but still standing.
Yeah, still standing. Was ignored by everyone.
Right. But yeah, wow, that was a pretty intense game, and always good to hear the insight of someone who actually knows what they're doing more with a particular race. I feel like I have a pretty reasonable handle on most races and Imperial Guard in general, but being one of the premier Lord General players that you are, great to have your insight here on the cast.
Thank you.
But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the game. Of course, this is a co-cast with Toilailee, and maybe I said that right, maybe I didn't. That's up to you. And and anyways, comment, subscribe, talk about the game, the strategy, the co-cast. I always appreciate it. And Toilailee, say goodbye to your loyal followers.
Goodbye. My loyal subject.
This is Red-Rupee. I'll catch you guys next time.